Hello, everybody. As they say, namaste. My name is Dante. This is my channel, Bliss Beings, about spiritual development, healing, and many magical things, and sometimes something a little weird. Today is a video about magical tools, particularly shape-shifting. So we all have heard stories or seen maybe in movies a being or a person who could change its shape from one expression to another, maybe becoming an animal or a different person, or who knows. This is a real ability that is something that one can come in with karmically from other lifetimes, or something that can be developed, and actually it isn't that hard to do. So shaman in some cultures around the world have these ideas about using this ability to actually become an animal, to change their form into an animal, and obviously change back. I don't know anyone capable of this. If you do know somebody capable of this, I want to get in touch with them, so let me know. But this has been part of shamanic lore for thousands of years, and it is something that is possible, as are all of these other magical abilities as well. I don't want to talk so much about that because, for one, what is truly the purpose of changing yourself into an animal? Is it to show off? I can't think of a better purpose other than maybe showing off, and I mean, I guess it's probably a very exciting experience to feel yourself in a different body, but I want to talk more about the subtle degrees of shapeshifting. So we can psychically shapeshift and present a different form of ourselves to others for the purpose of awakening to this multidimensional nature, to go beyond our limited identity to a greater identity that rests first in our soul and then in spirit itself, that is beyond form, beyond identity, beyond the structure that we experience as incarnate beings. So there's a really simple way that you can practice this, and it's just to kind of lock eyes with another person in meditation and have the intention to see another aspect of this person, without even knowing which kind of being that you are going to shapeshift into in their vision and in your inner experience. A being can come through you, and you can see on the other person that psychic overlay. Their face may change. They may first get very young or very old, or they may change shape into a different person, to an animal, or to an extraterrestrial. And I'm sure it's not limited to just that, but I only have experience with that so far. And you can use this technique of locking eyes and eye gazing with people with different intentions. And the intention in this exercise is key. So if you're having trouble seeing things first, you can practice just eye gazing with a person to transmit healing energy. In energy healing traditions, it's taught that energy flows from the hands, from the mouth, and from the eyes. These are the strongest points of subtle energy concentration in the body, and you can use all of these points to transmit a frequency at all times, really. So you can send a healing energy, like sending Reiki out through your eyes. Even if you're not looking at somebody's eyes, the thing that you are gazing upon, you can transmit that healing frequency through your eyes just by tapping into your channel and intending. There's other ways, other intentions for the eye gazing technique, like to develop intimacy, to see into the other person's soul. This shape-shifting is like seeing into the other person's soul, quite literally, though you're tapping into another aspect of that person. So what happens when you do this technique and you start to see a different entity come through? That is the person's either parallel soul aspect, or what a lot of people call past lives or future lives or parallel lives, parallel soul aspect. And this is a more precise word for it, because when we start to understand higher dimensions, we understand that everything is happening right here and now. So it may seem like the past or the future from our lineal time perspective, but it's actually occurring right now. Those other beings, those other aspects of your own soul are having their own unique experiences at this moment. And one thing to know also about this is that as you change your frequency, they change their frequency. As you change something in your life, something also changes in their life. And again, as you change yourself, the different soul aspects that you tap into in turn will change. So why do you want to shapeshift? Why is this something that can help you? Well, for one, it's a very interesting experience to see on another person's face a different being present itself to you. You can start to use this technique to understand more of your own soul, what other soul aspects are you connected with, and what other soul aspects are your friends and the people you practice this connected with. It helps you become more aware of yourself. And as well, once you get in touch with those soul aspects, you can then channel them. And say, for example, in a past life, you were a very powerful shaman, and in this life, you know nothing about shamanism, but you start to develop a connection with that past life, so to say, as a shaman, and you can intend to just connect with their energy, and they can teach you things. You can relearn shamanic techniques without having to go through a training in this life once you develop this shape-shifting ability. And shape-shifting, of course, in and of itself is a shamanic technique. This also subtly over time begins to break down your identity structure a little bit. You still experience yourself as you are, though you're not so keenly identified, so selectively and completely focused on who you are in this life, in this body, because you know you have all of these other parts of yourself that you can draw energy from. And once you get to meet them, your sense of self expands tremendously. So I want to talk about, in terms of both in the subtle shape-shifting and in the physical shape-shifting, what is actually occurring? Is your body changing? No. Your body, it's not like you see in the movies where now I'm becoming like a reptile creature and my fingernails get really long and my hair shrinks and then scales form. It's actually a complete and total shift in your frequency. So it's like one frame of a movie and then the next frame of the movie, you're something different. You change your entire frequency to match the frequency of this new being. You change your vibration, so to say. And this understanding also then spills over into life, because we are shape-shifting all the time. Every time our frequency changes, we're literally a new person. So Bashar says, and Being's Eye Channel and many extraterrestrial channels say, in every nanosecond, you're an entire new universe, an entire new reality. And every subtle shift in your frequency, you become a new person in a new universe. So this may sound really far out, though take it with time, keep repeating this idea to yourself and see how it unfolds. Say, for example, you're really frustrated about something, and then you take all of your focus away from the thing that frustrates you and instead focus on the divine, focus on something spiritual. Just breathe for a couple of moments, and like that, all of that emotional energy disappears and you become a new person. Every time something like that happens, it's not like, oh, I let it go or something. It's like you've let it go, but you've really become a new person. And developing the awareness of the possibility of shape-shifting allows you to then shape-shift yourself, to imagine a version of yourself that is more in alignment with how you would prefer to experience your life. And just imagining that and holding that in your consciousness for a little while, your frequency changes. And you can do this again and again and again. And this also helps you not only shift into a more preferred reality, it shows you that there's many different subtle components in yourself. There's many different mini-me's within you, so to speak. And we've tried to, in our lives, really define who we are, have a clear sense of who we are, express that clear idea of me into the world, when actually that limits us. So understanding shapeshifting as well can help you to find all of these different components in you: the performer, the healer, the mother, the father, the child, the trickster, the saint, we could go on forever. And all of these components within you, you can channel them, you can tune into their frequency and allow that energy to move through you to express something new into reality. And it's really exciting. What more to say about this? So there's many different spirits that are shapeshifters as well. So don't get so attached to how your guides present themselves to you. Many people, when they have guides like extraterrestrials that could be a bit scary to the conditioned mind, will present themselves as animals or something else first. And you get to know that energy, you get to build a relationship to it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, just kidding, we're aliens. And you're like, what? So a lot of aliens have that, extraterrestrials, they prefer that term, really. But I joke saying aliens all the time. So the extraterrestrials, some of them actually are shapeshifters. Once you reach a certain dimensional level, you can actually shift how your semi-physicality expresses itself at will just by thinking about it. And also, many nature earth spirits are shapeshifters as well. There's whole realms of them. You call them deva. So it may present itself in the shape of an elf or a gnome or something like this, and then it can change into something entirely different. And what we're seeing is not the body of that being. They're in a dimension beyond time and space entirely, where they're never born and they're never dead. They never die. They're eternal beings. So through shifting our vibration to a bit of a higher octave, those beings come to meet us in this subtle place in between, where they then have the power to change the electromagnetic spectrum to show us an image. But that image is very rarely who they are. Animal spirits. So fox is the animal that it represents shape-shifting, represents many other things as well. Though if you have fox as your spirit or totem animal, you have a connection with this ability, and it's good to, if you feel drawn to this animal, that's indicating to you something of this nature. So fox is one of my totem animals. It's one of my closest totem animals. And I, in ceremonies and in doing healing work with people, have this ability to show them different soul aspects, to help them open up to these different levels, my own soul aspects, to gaze in their eyes, like I was saying, and these different entities come through me. But they are me. And yeah, whenever I go into a healing space, I just intend that the aspects of myself that are in the highest alignment can come through, that they can shift my form subtly. I've been told that if my path was fully aligned with shape-shifting, that eventually I would be able to then transform into a different being, though my path is more multifaceted, and there's many other tools and practices and paths that I walk. And so I will never fully complete the mastery of shape-shifting in this lifetime. Though, again, when I think about this, I question, is that really helpful? Is there really a purpose to that? Or is that the ego that wants to master shape-shifting and show off? So I do believe that is all I have to say about this topic. If you want to dive into this and explore your ability to shapeshift or do anything other magical thing of that nature, we can do a private session. My website's blissbeings.com, and I do channeling sessions as well. Check out my other videos, channeled messages from the Pleiadians, and I hope you've really enjoyed this video. It's been a really exciting one to share. I'm so happy that Spirit gave me a little nudge that make a video about this. So much love, light, blessings, and Have the best day ever.